Welcome back. Last class we were discussing about integration and interoperability, and we saw that this what are various dimensions of interoperability. We saw that two major things can happen because of this. One is because of this data level incompatibility, another is service level incompatibility. Then we saw that what are the dimensions of collaboration. We saw that the collaboration can take place in two dimensions. One is your inventory level collaboration, another is your planning level collaboration. Now, in this context we saw that if there is inventory level collaboration and no planning level collaboration, VMI is VMI is the option which many companies are adopting. Now, we are going to discuss about taking example of this VMI system. We are going to discuss what are various interoperability issues that can come during collaboration. To remind you, in the last lecture we have discussed that two systems, if they are integrated, they have to be eventually interoperable, but simply making the two systems interoperable, they may not be integrated, because during integration many strategic level issues needs to be resolved. Let us say, for example, if they do not if two companies do not decide that they have to be they have to be collaborating on inventory dimension and they have to become VMI partners. Do you think that resolving a technical compatibility issues between the information systems of both the organization is of any use? No, because first thing is that they have to strategically both the companies have to first strategically decide they have to be in partnership, then only technical issues will come into picture. But right now, through this motivating example, we are going to see in this VMI system, assuming that both the companies have now strategically decided that they are going to be in VMI partnership, we are going to see what kind of interoperability issues can come up and how the information flow between both the entities and what kind of interoperability issues can come up. So, as shown in this diagram, this is the supply side activities in a VMI system. So, what happens? I mean, we can say these are typical activities in a VMI system if they are integrated, if both the supplier and the retailer are integrated. So, what the supplier will do? The supplier will actually take the retailer's stock status. So, the supplier has to have certain facility for checking the retailer's stock status in its ERP system, or otherwise if it is available on a web based system. So, after the retailer checks it, possibly in every 24 hours or so, it will be keep checking, then the supplier knows his own inventory position and what kind of lead time he is going to check and take. So, therefore, based on that he can calculate the reorder point, and when the reorder point see, look, it is a real system in which real time it is assuming that it is connected with the point of sales system of the retailer, it is always it will be updated. So, the moment the supplier's system senses that the reorder point has reached, now who is calculating the reorder point? The supplier is calculating the reorder point himself, not the retailer. So, now you understand what is the meaning of inventory level collaboration. This reorder point, which otherwise would have been calculated by the retailer himself, and retailer would have explicitly given the purchase order to the supplier, here actually the supplier senses the retailer's stock status and it calculates the reorder point. This is the supplier side activity. Then when the reorder point reaches, as I have already explained, now it is the time for the supplier to send the consignment stock. So, what the supplier will do? Supplier will first generate the purchase order, then it will dispatch the consignment stock. See, while dispatching the consignment stock, there will be a physical flow, but the corresponding information flow is it has to update this consignment stock status in its own inventory system. The supplier will update the consignment information in his own system. Then after consignment stock updating, it will be waiting for the retailer system to start using the consignment stock. Look, till this point retailer has not opened the consignment stock. The consignment stock is sent over the web, in the physical channel, and the details of this consignment stock shipping is sent to the retailer. But retailer, as I have told you, the consignment stock is something which is in the inventory of, which is actually the supplier's inventory, but lies in the premises of the retailer. So, the supplier simply waits when the retailer is going to use the consignment stock. So, when the consignment retailer starts using the consignment stock after his existing stock is over, when he starts using the consignment stock, at the beginning he has to send some information to the retailer. So, what then retailer to the supplier, the retailer sends this consignment stock usage begin information to the supplier. Then what supplier will be doing? Now, the consignment stock which so far was in the inventory of the supplier itself, but lying in the premises of the retailer, will now be going to the retailer's inventory. So, what this fellow will do, the supplier will do? He will be updating his own stock status. So, he will decrease the stock level when the consignment is entered into the inventory of the retailer. After updating his own inventory, he knows that now he has to again check the retailer's inventory, because there is no consignment stock, it has already gone to the retailer's inventory. So, he starts checking after every 24 hour possibly. So, this cycle continues at the retailer's side, and the information flow and information update takes place. Information flows between retailer and supplier, and information update takes place at the supplier side. Now, let us go to retailer side activities. This is again a state chart model, and here what happens, when the stock is available at the retailer's point, the retailer continues using the stock. When the stock is over, he will be using the consignment stock. Accordingly, he will update the stock level, his own stock level. It will go, because it will go to his own inventory. Then it will inform the supplier that it has started using the consignment stock. Then it will and because it gives the information to the supplier, supplier will be immediately sending the invoice, because so far it was in the in the stock of the supplier. So, therefore, he has not sent the invoice so far. So, now he has sent the invoice, and once the invoice is sent, the retailer will be making the payment. After receiving the invoice, it will be making the payment. Possibly here, for making the payment, again another party will be involved, that is the bank. In fact, two parties will be involved, both retailer's bank and supplier's bank. In one of the earlier lecture, we saw that during B2B transaction, how the payment information flow between the banks. So, now the payment will be made, but right now in this diagram we are not showing the bank's involvement. but what we have shown is that the how the information flow and what are the activities between retailer and supplier side. Now, between a supplier and a retailer, this information flow, supplier will be getting stock level from the retailer, retailer will be sending his own stock level, supplier will be generating the purchase order, it will send the consignment stock detail to the retailer, retailer will acknowledge the consignment stock receipt, then when the consignment he starts using the consignment stock, he moves it to its own inventory, he will be sending that information to the supplier, and supplier in turn will be updating his own inventory and sending the invoice to the retailer. So, to realize this information flow, some services are to be hosted on the supplier side. In fact, when we will continue with this example when we talk about the technology to various about the web service technologies for information integration in some later lecture. But right now let us try to see what are various integration issues in this VMI implementation. First of all, it is the information integration. The supplier is responsible for maintaining the retailer's service level. Therefore, the supplier's information system needs to be integrated with that of retailers to share the point of sales data and inventory status. Then there has to be planning synchronization. So, the supplier forecasts the demand and prepares the purchase order and sends it to the retailer. The retailer may request to modify the purchase order if certain exceptions arise, such as a fill rate is not satisfied or the retailer expects the demand to go up, etc. Or he can accept the purchase order. Then this synchronization is essential to optimize the inventory level. Then there has to be workflow coordination, and here that we were talking about web services. These web services are essential for this coordinating this workflow. This whole VMI system can be viewed as two interrelated cycles, the replenishment cycle and the payment cycle. Each cycle is a workflow consisting of a set of activities linked together. So, while this information flow between both the entities to carry out both these cycles has to be achieved. Then monitoring, and next integration issue is about monitoring and measurement. Here monitoring of retailer and the vendor's activity is essential to the success of VMI process. VMI operation consists of three flows: information flow, material flow and credit flow. Three flows are to be synchronized to make a successful VMI system. Suppose the retailer starts using the consignment stock, but forgets to report it to the vendor, which means he does not update the status in the VMI system when the replenishment cycle gets disrupted. So, which means the other party will not be aware of the status. So, next consignment stock he cannot send in right time. So, therefore, monitoring and measurement is also very important. So, with this we stop, and we continue with our lecture, next lecture subsequently.